Welcome to Chapter 11. We're going to go ahead and get started here with 11.2. We're going to talk about surface areas of prisms and cylinders. We're going to start 11.2 talking about prisms. Now what a prism is a three-dimensional shape where the two bases are a particular shape, and that's how we name the prism. If the top and the bottom were in the shape of a pentagon, we would say it's a pentagonal prism. Now the sides are all going to be rectangles. So the sides here are going to be rectangles. Then the shapes on the top and the bottom could change, and then that would be how we name it. So when we're talking about lateral and surface areas of a prism, the lateral area of a right prism is the product of the perimeter of the base and the height of the prism. So the perimeter of the base times the height. And what that's going to do is that's going to get us the area of all of the sides of our shape. All of these sides here, the rectangles, that can be found by doing lateral area. To find the surface area of the right prism, we take the sum of that lateral area that we talked about, and then we're going to add to it the area of the two bases, so the base at the top and the base on the bottom. That's going to be this part right here. And again, we add that to the lateral area that we had before, which is perimeter times height. Our first example problem here, we got the surface area of this prism below. Now if you'll notice, the top and the bottom are both rectangles, so we would call this a rectangular prism. So how we're going to do that, the first thing we're going to find is our lateral area, which is our perimeter of the base times the height. Well, our base is down here. It's got a length of 10 and a length of 4. And so opposite of the 10, over here is going to be another 10, and over here is going to be another 4. So 10 plus 10 plus 4 plus 4 should give us a perimeter of 28. And the height is going to be right here at 5. So 28 times 5 should get us 140 as a lateral area. So now when we go to find the surface area, and I want to take the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the bases, I already know what my lateral area is. It's 140. And I'm going to add to that 2 times the area of the base. Well, if my base is a rectangle that's 10 by 4, that's going to have an area of 40, because 10 times 4 is 40. So now when I find the surface area, 140 plus 2 times 40, well, 2 times 40 is 80. 140 plus 80 should get me 220 square centimeters. Go ahead and pause the video at this point. Go ahead and work on this one on your own, and then when you're done, go ahead and hit play, see how you did. Okay, so as you can see here, I found the lateral area, which is perimeter of the base times the height. You'll notice my perimeter here. This side length is 10, and I got that from up here. This side length is 7. I got that from up there. So my triangle on the bottom is 10, 7, and 9. I add these three together to get 26. And then I multiply it by my height of 8 to give me a lateral area of 208 square inches. Then to get my surface area, I take my lateral area of 208 plus 2 times the area of the base. My area of my base is 1/2 base times height. My base down here is 8. My height is 8.7. So 1/2 base times height should give me 30.45, which is the area of my base. When I multiply that by 2, I get 60.9. Well, 208 plus 60.9 should give me an area of 268.9 inches squared, or square inches. Next, we're going to be talking about Theorem 11.2, lateral and surface area of a cylinder. Okay, so a cylinder is a prism that has a circle as the two bases. So now the lateral area of a right cylinder is the product of the circumference of the base and the height of the cylinder. That is the same thing as what we talked about with the prism. We did perimeter times height for the prism. Well, the circumference is just the perimeter of a circle. So this formula will not change. It's still the perimeter of our base times the height. We just have a circle as our base. And then to find the surface area, we still take the lateral area plus 2 times the base of, or 2 times the area of the base. So the way that looks with circles is we're going to have 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. So now when we find problem number 3 here, the radius of the base of the cylinder is 6 centimeters and its height is 15 centimeters. What is the surface area of the cylinder in terms of pi? So when we do this here, we're going to use this formula, 2 pi RH, so 2 times pi times my radius times my height, and I'm going to add to it 2 pi r squared, 2 times pi times my radius squared. Now they want to leave it in terms of pi, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply all the numbers not with pi. So I'm going to have 2 times 6 times 15, which should get me 180 pi, plus 2 times 6 squared, well 6 squared is 36, and 2 times 36 should give me 72. So I have 180 pi plus 72 pi. I add those two together, and it should give me 252 pi square centimeters. So it's answer D. Our final example for this lesson, we've got a soup can is 4.5 inches high and has a diameter of 3 inches. So if I try to draw that here, we've got our soup can. It's 4.5 inches high and it has a diameter of 3 inches. They want to know how much paper is needed to make a label that will completely cover the sides of the can. So they just want the sides here. They don't want to cover the top or the bottom. So what that means is we're going to do lateral area. Okay, and only lateral area. Which again, our formula for lateral area is 2 times pi times my radius times my height. So when I plug values in here, I've got 2 pi. If my diameter is 3 inches, my radius is 1.5 inches. And then my height is 4.5 inches. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type that all into my calculator. And when I do, I should get 42.39 square inches.